Close your eyes for a second. Imagine stepping into the glass-walled penthouse office of one of the wealthiest people on Earth. Floor-to-ceiling views of the city skyline stretch endlessly, but the real power lies inside this room. Whiteboards filled with ideas, bold projections, and blueprints for billion-dollar ventures. It's here that decisions reshape industries and rewrite futures. And it all starts with how billionaires think.
You're right, Max. Billionaires don't just think differently, they operate on a completely different mental frequency. While most people are focused on this week's bills or the next paycheck, billionaires are mapping out the next decade. And it's not just wishful thinking, it's structured vision setting and long-term planning that most of us overlook.
Sophia, let me put you on the spot. How do billionaires actually train themselves to think bigger? I mean, is it just natural talent, or is it something they build over time?
Good question, Max. It's not just talent, it's deliberate training. Billionaires build mental habits, like asking bigger questions and challenging assumptions. Think about Elon Musk. He didn't just accept the price of rockets. He broke it down using first principles thinking and rebuilt the entire cost structure from scratch.
Right. And that's the key, breaking problems down to fundamentals instead of accepting limits. It's not just dreaming big, it's engineering big.
And that's the first key habit, vision setting. Billionaires train themselves to zoom out and see the bigger picture. But here's the secret, they don't just dream. They back their vision with plans and systems. Think of Elon Musk again. When he wanted to make reusable rockets a reality, he didn't start by asking, is this possible? He asked, what's stopping it? Then he broke the problem down step by step.
I love that. And speaking of thinking differently, billionaires also resist short-term gratification. While most people chase quick wins, they're willing to delay rewards for bigger gains. Warren Buffett started investing at age 11 and didn't touch most of his wealth until decades later. That's not luck, it's patience compounded into billions.
Exactly. And the Buffett has a rule for that. He calls it the inner scorecard. Instead of worrying about what others think, he asks himself, am I making the right decision for the long term? Most people let outside noise guide them, but billionaires stay locked onto their own goals.
So true. And it's not just mental discipline, it's habit stacking. Billionaires build daily routines that reinforce their mindset. Bezos schedules time to think, Musk blocks time for creative problem solving, and Buffett reads for hours every day. It's not magic, it's structure.
And that's what sets them apart. They design their environments to think bigger. The books they read, the people they meet, and even the tools they use, it's all intentional. And that's exactly what we'll break down in the next segment, how billionaires make high-pressure decisions without losing focus.
Imagine this. Billions of dollars are on the line, markets are crashing, and the media is calling it a financial apocalypse. Now picture a billionaire sitting in their private office, calmly sipping coffee, analyzing data, and deciding their next move. It's not luck. It's not fearlessness. It's preparation. And today, we're unpacking how they stay cool when the stakes couldn't be higher.
That's such a sharp image, Max. And it's true, billionaires don't just act calm under pressure. They train for chaos. Take Warren Buffett during the 2008 financial crisis. While everyone else was panicking, Buffett was buying stock in Goldman Sachs when it felt like the financial world was ending. Why? Because he wasn't reacting, he was executing a pre-planned strategy built on second-order thinking.
Exactly. Second-order thinking is huge. It's all about asking, what happens next? And then what? Most people focus on the immediate outcome, but billionaires think through the chain reaction. Sophia, give me an example. How does this actually play out in real life?
Let's look at Elon Musk during Tesla's near collapse in 2008. Cash was running out, creditors were circling, and Tesla was weeks from bankruptcy. Musk didn't just focus on surviving, he was already thinking ahead. He asked, if Tesla fails, how can I pivot to protect the technology and rebuild? That mindset, planning 2 moves ahead, gave him the courage to double down when others would have folded.
That's powerful. And it ties into another billionaire tool, mental rehearsals. Athletes use visualization before big games, and billionaires do the same with decisions. Jeff Bezos has talked about regret minimization frameworks, literally imagining his future self looking back. He asks, will I regret not taking this risk? That's how he justified quitting his Wall Street job to start Amazon.
And it's not just about imagining success, it's also preparing for failure. Ray Dalio, the billionaire founder of Bridgewater, uses premortems. Instead of only planning for success, he imagines what could go wrong first. He'll say, if this fails, what's the most likely cause? Then he builds safeguards before the decision is even made.
That's such a shift, right? Most people avoid thinking about failure. Billionaires run toward it, analyze it, and turn it into an advantage. And it's not just theory, it's habit. They literally train their brains to stay calm under fire by practicing deliberate stress exposure.
You're talking about controlled stress tests, right? Like simulating crises ahead of time so their brains adapt? It's fascinating because studies show that when you face controlled stress repeatedly, your brain stops seeing it as a threat and starts treating it as a problem to solve. That's exactly why billionaires perform better when the stakes are sky high.
Exactly. And here's the best part. This is a reserve for billionaires. Tools like AI decision simulators and risk analysis software are now available for everyone. You can literally practice high-stakes decision-making using platforms like quantified strategies or Palisade risk tools.
And that's where the real shift happens. Billionaires don't see pressure as something to avoid. They see it as a muscle to train. Whether it's using AI tools or just journaling decisions before they're made, the key is rehearsing success and engineering resilience.
And that's exactly what we'll break down next. How billionaires set habits and routines to reinforce these frameworks every single day. Stay with us. Let's be honest. Most people think billionaires wake up in silk pajamas, sip coffee by the pool, and let money roll in while they relax. But the truth? Their routines are more like Olympic athletes, structured, disciplined, and designed to win every single day.
Exactly. Billionaires don't just rely on motivation. They design systems to keep themselves productive even when they don't feel like it. Take Jeff Bezos. He starts his morning slow, reading and thinking 4 hours before jumping into meetings. It's not about being busy, it's about being intentional with time.
That's such a shift, right? Most people are chasing to-do lists and reacting to problems. Billionaires flip the script. They protect their mornings for strategy and vision, not tasks. Sophia, do you think that's something anyone can build? Or is it just easier when you're already rich?
Honestly, anyone can build it, but it takes discipline. Elon Musk plans his day in 5-minute blocks, not hours. He doesn't wing it. He assigns time to tasks and decisions, treating each moment like a mini investment. You don't need millions to start doing that. You just need to see time as capital.
I love that. Treating time as capital. And billionaires also build habits around energy management, not just time. Tony Robbins swears by morning priming, using breathing exercises and visualization to get into peak mental states. It's not random. It's a habit formula designed to create focus and confidence on demand.
And speaking of focus, billionaires don't leave it to chance. They engineer their environments for success. Warren Buffett famously eliminates distractions, no smartphone, no email obsession, so he can focus on reading and thinking. And there's science behind it. Studies show cluttered spaces reduce focus by up to 40%.
That's huge. And it reminds me, billionaires don't just create focus zones physically. They also train mental focus using tools. Ray Dalio swears by meditation, and CEOs like Jack Dorsey use apps like Headspace or Calm to build mental clarity.
And here's something interesting. Billionaires don't just build habits, they track them. Tools like Habitica or Streaks let them monitor progress and build momentum. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. And that consistency compounds over time, just like investing.
Exactly. And speaking of compounding, billionaires also use something called keystone habits. These are habits that trigger a chain reaction of positive behaviors. For example, exercising in the morning isn't just about fitness. It boosts energy, sharpens focus, and even lowers stress levels.
That's a big one. Billionaires don't just try to do more. They focus on doing what matters most. They cut distractions and automate decisions. Mark Zuckerberg wore the same outfit every day to avoid decision fatigue. One less thing to think about so he can focus on bigger problems.
And speaking of automation, AI tools are becoming game changers. Tools like Notion AI and Motion help billionaires manage tasks, schedules, and ideas without losing focus. And newer platforms like Reclaim AI even prioritize tasks dynamically based on urgency.
Exactly. It's about designing systems, not relying on willpower. And billionaires also use journaling and reflection tools to reinforce habits. Tools like Day One and Journey help them evaluate their performance daily, what worked, what didn't, and what to focus on more.
And that's where everything ties together. It's not about luck or talent. It's about deliberate systems, tracking habits, and using tools to multiply focus and productivity. In the next segment, we'll show how billionaires turn these habits into scalable frameworks for building businesses and legacies. Stay with us. You know what's fascinating, Sophia? Most people think billionaires are these lone geniuses pulling all the strings themselves. But the truth? They're masters of scaling systems, turning habits into frameworks that multiply results without multiplying effort.
Exactly. And that's where habits become leverage. It's not just what billionaires do themselves, it's how they delegate, automate, and scale. Take Jeff Bezos. He didn't personally pack boxes at Amazon, he built systems that scaled warehouses, logistics, and supply chains globally.
And that's the secret most people miss. Billionaires don't just focus on doing things right. They focus on building systems that do things automatically even when they're asleep. Sophia, do you think scaling is more about people or technology?
It's both. But billionaires start with processes. They break goals into repeatable steps. Think Elon Musk with SpaceX. He didn't just build rockets, he scaled a manufacturing process for reusable parts. Then they add tools and teams to scale faster.
Right. And speaking of tools, AI is a huge multiplier now. Billionaires are using platforms like Zapier and UiPath to automate workflows. Imagine replacing 20 hours of manual work with a script that runs in seconds. That's scaling in action.
And they don't stop there. Billionaires also leverage data. Tools like Tableau and Power BI let them track performance metrics in real time, whether it's sales trends, market shifts, or employee productivity. Data isn't just numbers for them. It's a feedback loop for decision making.
I love that. Scaling isn't guesswork. It's data-driven optimization. And billionaires also use AI tools like Scribe to document processes automatically, turning tasks into step-by-step templates so teams can execute without micromanagement.
That's key. Scaling means letting go of control. Billionaires don't micromanage, they build frameworks and let systems take over. Look at Ray Dalio's company, Bridgewater. They built an AI-driven decision-making system called Principles Tools that analyzes data and suggests strategies, making their process repeatable at scale.
And that's what separates billionaires from most people. They trust systems, not emotions. They let tools handle repetitive tasks so they can stay focused on high-impact decisions. Sophia, what's one mindset shift you think listeners need to make to start scaling like this?
Stop thinking like employees and start thinking like architects. Instead of doing tasks, focus on designing systems that handle tasks for you. Even starting small, like automating emails or tracking habits, builds momentum for bigger changes.
I love that idea of starting small. Let's break it down. What's the first step for someone listening right now who's stuck in manual work?
Step 1. Map your process. Write down exactly what you do in a typical workday. Step 2. Identify bottlenecks. Where are you spending too much time? And step 3. Automate the repeatable tasks. Use tools like Zapier to automate emails or Calendly to handle scheduling.
Perfect. Once you start automating, you create more time for high-value tasks. Billionaires aren't busy, they're productive. They use that extra time for strategy, not just putting out fires. That's the mindset shift. Stop working in your life and start working on it.
Exactly. Scaling isn't about working harder, it's about building smarter. And in the next segment, we'll show how billionaires protect their time and energy to stay focused on growth. Don't miss it.
Sophia, let's start with the elephant in the room. Everyone's obsessed with time management, but billionaires treat time completely differently. It's not just about managing their schedules, it's about owning their time. What's the secret?
It's mindset first. Billionaires don't think about time as hours, they think about it as assets. Jeff Bezos calls his mornings high-value thinking time. He protects them for strategy and decisions, not meetings or distractions. It's like investing. Time spent thinking compounds results.
That's so different from the average person who jumps straight into emails and meetings. And the scary part? Studies show that multitasking can lower productivity by 40%. No wonder billionaires focus on single tasking. Sophia, what's one way people can shift into this mindset?
One strategy billionaires swear by is time blocking. Elon Musk plans his entire day in 5-minute blocks. Every minute is accounted for. No gaps, no wasted time. It forces you to be intentional with how you spend every hour.
And it's not just about time, it's also about energy management. Billionaires understand that energy is a limited resource. Look at Oprah Winfrey. She prioritizes meditation and mindfulness because she knows mental clarity fuels everything else. Sophia, do you think people overlook energy when they focus on productivity?
Absolutely. Most people push harder when they're tired, but billionaires know when to pause and recharge. Tools like Aura Rings and Whoop Bands help them track sleep, heart rate, and recovery, so they know exactly when to push and when to rest. It's data-driven performance.
I love that. Using data to measure recovery, not just activity. And let's not forget focus. Billionaires aren't afraid to say no to distractions. Warren Buffett calls it the avoidance list strategy. If it's not essential, it's out. Sophia, do you think saying no is hard for most people?
Definitely. But it's a muscle you can train. Start with tools like Freedom and Focus at Will. They block distractions and create focus-friendly environments. And it's not just about removing distractions, it's about retraining your brain to stay locked in longer.
That's huge, especially with the rise of AI tools. Billionaires are using Motion and Reclaim.ai to automate scheduling and prioritize tasks so they only focus on what really matters. It's like having a personal assistant that runs 24/7.
And it's not just about software. Billionaires also use mental hacks to protect focus. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day to avoid decision fatigue. It's a simple trick, but it frees up brain power for bigger problems.
Speaking of mental hacks, visualization is another one. Athletes do it before big games, and billionaires do it before big deals. Tools like primed mind guide visualization exercises, helping people mentally rehearse success and lower anxiety before high-pressure decisions.
And there's one more, accountability systems. Billionaires set external deadlines and use coaches to stay on track. Tools like BetterUp and Coach.me make it easier to build that structure even without $1 million budget.
So the formula is simple. Protect time, track energy, and optimize focus using tools and systems. And there's one mindset shift that ties it all together, thinking in terms of inputs versus outputs. Billionaires focus on results, not hours worked.
Exactly. And they protect their focus like it's gold. They use what's called the shutdown ritual, a hard stop at the end of the day to review progress, set priorities for tomorrow, and mentally disconnect. It's how they stay sharp without burning out.
I love that. It's about finishing strong and being ready for the next day. And in the final segment, we'll break down how billionaires use these frameworks to build long-term legacies that outlast trends. Don't miss it. So, Sophia, here's the big question. What's the end game? Billionaires don't just focus on building wealth. They focus on building legacies. But what separates a billionaire's legacy from just leaving money behind?
It's about impact, not inheritance. Billionaires think bigger. They ask, how can I create something that outlasts me? Look at Bill Gates. He didn't just stop after Microsoft. He shifted to global health and education through the Gates Foundation, and now he's tackling problems like malaria and climate change. It's about creating systems of impact, not just wealth.
That's powerful. Wealth isn't the end, it's the tool. And billionaires use frameworks to scale their impact the same way they scale businesses. They fund foundations, endowments, and social enterprises, basically turning wealth into force multipliers for change.
Exactly. And the process starts early. Jeff Bezos created the Day One Fund to support homeless families and education long before he retired. It's not about waiting until you're done. It's about building impact alongside growth. And Max, do you think this mindset is something only billionaires can access, or can anyone build a legacy like this?
I think anyone can start, even if it's small. It's about principles, not zeros. Take Warren Buffett. He started the Giving Pledge, challenging billionaires to donate half their wealth, but the mindset applies to anyone. You don't need billions to invest in causes or mentor others. It's about using whatever resources you have to create value beyond yourself.
That's such a shift, thinking of wealth as fuel for impact. And billionaires don't stop at giving money, they invest in people. Oprah built schools in South Africa. Richard Branson funds entrepreneurship programs. It's not just charity, it's scaling opportunity.
And it's not random. Billionaires use systems thinking even in philanthropy. Tools like effective altruism help them measure impact per dollar, focusing resources where they'll have the greatest return. Sophia, do you think this approach makes giving more like investing?
Definitely. It's all about ROI, return on impact, and AI tools are changing the game. Platforms like Give well analyze charities for effectiveness, and tools like DonorBox streamline fundraising. It's philanthropy, but optimized.
And legacy doesn't just mean charity. It's also about mentorship, passing down knowledge. Billionaires write books, fund scholarships, and build platforms for education. Think about Peter Thiel's fellowship program. He's literally funding the next generation of disruptors.
That's a great point. Billionaires see legacies as ecosystems, not monuments. They don't just leave wealth, they create movements. It's systems that keep working long after they're gone.
And that's what makes the billionaire mindset so powerful. It's not about hoarding resources, it's about multiplying value. Whether it's scaling businesses or scaling impact, the process is the same. Systems, habits, and vision. Sophia, what's the biggest lesson you think listeners should take from this?
Dream bigger and then build bigger. Billionaires aren't smarter, they're strategic. They build frameworks for wealth, time, and focus, and then they scale those systems to create impact. And the best part? You don't have to be a billionaire to start. The tools and habits we've covered in this episode can help anyone build a legacy that lasts.
I couldn't have said it better. Whether you're starting small or already scaling success, the principles we've covered, focus, systems, and leverage apply to every step of the journey. And speaking of next steps, make sure you subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. And follow us on Twitter for more insights. I couldn't have said it better. Whether you're starting small or already scaling success, the principles we've covered, focus, systems, and leverage apply to every step of the journey. And speaking of next steps, make sure you subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. And follow us on Twitter for more insights.
Music disclaimer. The intro and outro music Dreaming on Instrumental by Nefex is licensed under the YouTube Audio Library license. Full details can be found in the episode description.
Copyright notice, this episode is copyright 2025 by Finance Frontier AI. All rights reserved.
We do it.